The HOA thought they could scare me. They sent fake officers to my house, pretending to arrest me. Neighbors watched in shock. The HOA president smirked, but what they didn't know is that I'm the real chief of police. And their little game was about to blow up in their faces. The neighborhood was supposed to be quiet, peaceful, the kind of place families built their dreams. But ever since the new HOA president took charge, life felt more like a battlefield. They fined me for the color of my shutters. They complained about my front yard. And when I refused to bow down, they decided to escalate. One morning, as I was sipping coffee on my porch, a black SUV pulled into my driveway. Out stepped two men dressed in what looked like police uniforms. "Sir, you're under arrest for violating HOA regulations," one of them barked. I nearly laughed. HOA rules aren't criminal law. They can fine you, yes. They can sue you, sure. But arrest? That was a new level of insanity. The neighbors peeked out from behind curtains, whispering, pointing. The HOA president, smug as ever, stood at the end of the street with folded arms, watching like a vulture waiting for its prey. I played along for a moment, letting them spew their threats. But inside, I was boiling. Did they really think they could intimidate me with fake authority? Did they really think I'd roll over? Because here's the truth the HOA never bothered to learn: I wasn't just a homeowner. I wasn't just another neighbor. I was the chief of police. And they had just made the biggest mistake of their lives. I let them finish their act, the fake officers waving around a clipboard of bogus arrest warrants, signed by the HOA board. Then I stood up, calm and steady, the way years of real law enforcement had trained me. "Gentlemen," I said, stepping closer, "before you embarrass yourselves any further, let me see your badges." The taller one hesitated, then flashed a cheap metal badge that you could buy online for $20. That was all the confirmation I needed. The neighbors gasped as I pulled out my wallet. Inside was the real badge. The gold one. The one that carried the weight of the entire police department. "I don't know what game you're playing," I said, my voice sharp, "but impersonating an officer is a felony. And lucky for you, you picked the wrong man to fool. I'm the chief of police." The smug smile vanished from the HOA president's face. He started backing away, realizing the show had turned against him. I pulled out my phone, called for backup, and within minutes real squad cars rolled into the neighborhood. Sirens echoed. Lights flashed red and blue against the perfect suburban lawns. The fake officers were cuffed on the spot. The HOA president stammered excuses, claiming he didn't know they weren't real. But the truth was obvious: he had orchestrated everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the scene. Not because I was scared, but because I realized how deep the corruption ran. The HOA wasn't just about lawn rules anymore. It had become a system of bullying, of power, of intimidation. And I wasn't about to let it continue. The next HOA meeting was packed. Neighbors filled every chair, murmuring about what had happened. The president sat stiff, trying to look composed, but everyone knew his empire was crumbling. I walked in, uniform crisp, badge shining. The room went silent. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, "I've lived in this neighborhood for years. I've paid my dues, followed the rules, and respected my community. But what we saw last week was not about rules. It was about abuse of power." Gasps filled the room. People nodded. Some even clapped quietly. The HOA president thought he could scare me with fake officers. He thought he could bend the law to his will. But the law doesn't bend to bullies. I paused, letting the weight of my words settle. It bends to truth, to justice. I laid out the evidence. The fake badges. The recorded threats. Even witness statements from neighbors. The board members shifted uncomfortably. They knew the game was up. By the end of the meeting, the vote was unanimous. The HOA president was removed from office, banned from holding any position of power again. The fake officers were facing real charges. And for the first time in years, the neighborhood felt free. As I stepped outside into the cool night air, a neighbor approached me. "Chief," she said softly, "thank you. We were all too scared to stand up to him. But you gave us our neighborhood back." I nodded, a small smile tugging at my lips. "Sometimes," I said, "the only way to deal with a bully is to remind him what real authority looks like." The flag on my porch swayed gently in the wind as I walked back home. The same flag the HOA once tried to ban. Now, it wasn't just a symbol of freedom, it was a reminder that no one, not even the HOA, stood above the law.